I love Sonic the Hedgehog. I know, it's obvious considering the title of this video, but I do. And since he's becoming the most popular he's ever been after the rough 27 years since adventure, because of the success of his movie trilogy, TV show, and games, I decided today, instead of bringing up
Sonic had a rough transition into 3D,
or why
Sonic was never good.
I want to talk about why I truly love this character, and how he's someone who I still go back to every few months to relive, and how he inspires me to keep moving forward. To fully understand why I love this character, I have to take you back to my earliest memory of the boy Blur. I was 5 to 6 years old. I had just gone to a trampoline park and was now heading back to my friend's house to play on the Xbox 360. To play some Skylanders. You remember Skylanders? Yeah, I don't. When my friend booted up his Xbox, there it was.
Sega.
Sonic Generations. So instead of playing Skylanders, I sat there and I watched him play. If my memory serves me right, he was playing City Escape. And to say I was hooked was an understatement. When I got home, I must have bugged my mum for weeks about getting me a Sonic game. So for my 6th birthday, she got me a 3DS with both Pokemon Omega Ruby and Sonic Lost World. And I loved that game. Now I know what you're gonna say.
Yeah, Brad, Sonic Lost World on the DS. You like that game? You must have been stupid. That game is horrible.
Shut up. Please, shut up. I realize it's horrible now, but at the time I didn't have the mental capacity to realize some games were bad. That's until I played Spider-Man Little Showers a year or two later.
Get the fuck back in that bin! You can't leave until I make the Spider-Man retrospective!
Anyways, if this video gets 500 likes, I'll make a Spider-Man retrospective. After my Sonic one ends, of course. Though that might take a while. With Sonic games themselves, I feel like the gameplay hasn't always been the thing that kept me to the franchise, but the stories that they provide for me. Sonic games, and playing them, most of them are really fun to play, if not all of them. Looking at you, Edgelord.
No, Mom, I'm 13 now. I eat unhappy meals.
But it's these characters, and this world that brings me back every time there's a new entry, and it's the soul that they provide that makes them so enjoyable to play through for me. It's the emotion, and it's the stakes of these stories that bring me back even if they're cheesy. Sonic and these characters bring life to it, and I can't help but resonate with that. Sonic is, in these stories, a sense of justice and hope for others who he surrounds himself with. It's the same with characters like Superman and Goku. Superman, for example, does nothing but try to embody and be that hope for others, and while Sonic doesn't try to be that hope, to me it just feels like he can still bring it to whatever situation he's in, just by being there. No matter what situation he's in, he's always optimistic and ready to face the danger himself. It's that drive to help others and those around him that drives me to him. I think the PJ Show described it best in this video on Sonic's character in Frontiers. He's also just a great YouTuber, so please go check him out if you haven't. And that at the end of the day, Sonic is just a guy that loves adventure. He doesn't do what should be done because he's this morally righteous person, but because it's the right choice at the end of the day. To him, he can help show how important freedom is to others, letting them form a new path in life, that it's important to live life to the fullest in the time that we have, that opening your hearts is the way to break the cycle of hatred in the world. And recently there's been a lot of talks about what Sonic's story should be going forward after the Meta Era, Frontiers, and Shadow Generations, whether it should go back to that adventure style writing in Dark Era stories, or if they should keep Ian Flynn on board and allowing him to continue writing these games after stepping back from the comics team to work on these stories. Some people do despise this reference style writing, but truthfully to me, I really love it, because to me it finally seems that after all these years, we actually have someone who understands this character that we all love, and he knows what it means to all of us and so many people. Hell, for me, he made one of the best scripts for one of my favorite Sonic stories, Frontiers, which while being more grounded left all the characters in a really great place, trying to re-sculpt them into what they were before the Meta Era. This game shows me, it proves to me why it's not just important to explore what the characters are doing, but why they are doing this. It's more than just action, it was about heart and the reasonings they have to do what they do. Frontiers brought back the character-driven narratives that I've been sorely missing in the recent entries. This wasn't just about a hero saving the day like the Meta Era anymore. It was about each character's personal development and their interactions with one another. Sonic's interactions with Tails, Amy, and Knuckles were not only genuine, but also deeply heartfelt. Their friendships, which are hallmarks of the series' earlier days, felt vividly restored, and they all felt like they could stand on their own 2 feet without having to fully rely on Sonic. Gone are the days of Tails crying for Sonic's aid, but now he's back to being as fierce himself, the fox who saved Central City from blowing up. This is where I want to talk about the meta era as a whole and why it was disappointing to fans of these stories and the world. The meta era, if I had to sum up its stories, was just bland in a sense. A quote I've heard for years was, "If your characters don't take the story seriously, how can I?" Sonic Colors marked this trend for me, and it would continue to dominate the series in my eyes for the next several years. It was a shift towards a more comedic, less narrative-driven approach. The dialogue became focused meta-humor jokes.
No copyright law in the universe is going to stop me!
And filled with quips that just occasionally broke the fourth wall.
His name is Yacker. He's from a race of beings called Wisps.
Lisps?
No, Wisps, with a W.
Yeah, I'll just stick with aliens if that's okay with everybody.
Oh, sure.
Eggman's schemes were always portrayed with more silliness than malice, and I'm not saying he was always a serious evil overlord like Sad AM thinks, but he was able to be taken seriously at times, and Sonic's character just leaned into his wisecracking carefree persona. While this lighter tone was refreshing at the time in some ways, after games like 06, it also just meant that the deeper emotional beats and character arc that had been staple of the earlier games were just largely now absent. Sonic was fun again to a more mainstream audience, but the heart of those stories felt like it was missing, replaced with a more marketable family-friendly tone that, while accessible, lacked the emotional resonance of the adventure era. Generations highlighting this even more so for me with its lack of story at times. If we are abundantly clear, Generation's story served as more as a framework to connect the levels than a driving force of its own. Time travel shenanigans and the return of past villains created a backdrop for Sonic's adventure, but there was no real depth or development for the characters. It was clear that Sega was more interested in leveraging nostalgia and refined gameplay than crafting a compelling story. Sonic Generations felt more like a greatest hits compilation for Sonic's 20th anniversary, rather than a meaningful continuation of Sonic's journey. The plot was paper thin, merely an excuse to revisit these past levels with little depth or character development. And this is the moment Sonic stories died for me. This isn't helped by Lost World or Forces in 2017, with both of them trying to bring back some sense of seriousness back into the games, but the dialogue and the performances were just not cutting it.
Those rotten, sneaky...
Tails acted for the greater good. Let's make sure his sacrifice isn't for nothing.
I'm supposed to be the fastest, but I was too slow to save my buddy.
Like, no offense, Roger. You are and will be my second favorite Sonic and Batman. But just what was this line delivery guy saying to you to make you sound like this? I've heard you in Arkham Origins, the same year as Lost World, and 2 years before Forces.
You may be. No, not may be. I am. When the mugger or the thief stops to think twice, that is fear. That is what I am. That is why they hired assassins, because I am the reason the criminals breathe easier when the sun rises. So no, Alfred, I am not in over my head. Tonight will be in my head, but it will be theirs.
And you're brilliant in it! This just left the fans wanting that adventure and Dark Age storytelling once more, where these characters have motives, and didn't just wait around for Sonic to save the day, but also had competency of their own, like Shadow, which has all been lost by the meta era, just making him this complete dark edgelord instead of the sophisticated and complex character he was before. This is where I want to bring up Frontiers once again, as it wasn't just a nostalgia trip for fans, it was an indication that Sonic Team are willing to take risk and innovation, and tell meaningful stories, that they are allowing the characters to shine so that they can continue with this character and make his stories meaningful to so many. Sonic Frontiers reminds me why I love the Blue Blur, and then what he meant to me after the bland storytelling of the meta era. They just didn't have the dramatic moments that the other eras had. Even when they tried, they just failed badly. It was this bland or non-existent, which is why I'm really happy that we've gone back to these stories where Sonic can be the hope that he is to these characters and many fans. This revitalization wasn't even just limited to Sonic alone either. I've said it before with Tails. It extended to the entire sidecast, breathing new life into these beloved characters like Amy, who was once portrayed as an overly clingy love interest. She's emerged a proactive and empowering figure, determined to make a difference in her own unique way.
When this is over, I want to share that love with the world. even though it may take us far apart.
I know you'll do great. I want to hear all about it when you come back.
He's no longer defined by her dependence on Sonic like the Meta era and even the Dark era. Amy's new role showcased her growth and independence, making her a more dynamic and relatable character, even improving on her from previous eras for the character. Knuckles also experienced a massive transformation. Going from being seen as just the guardian of the Master Emerald, Knuckles found himself yearning for more than his usual duties.
It reminds me I'm the last echidna, that I'm alone.
You may be the last, but you're not alone. You've got us, Knucklehead.
I'll admit, I do envy your lifestyle. Freedom to go where you want, when you want.
So do it. Get out there and live a little.
Maybe I could. But first I need to be back to normal. So hurry up and get me back to normal.
Anything to get you away from me.
This game gave him a new depth, portraying his admiration for Sonic's freedom and his own desire for adventure. The shift in Knuckles' character added layers of complexity and relatability that which weren't there before. This showing that even the most steadfast heroes can seek those new horizons in personal growth. Lastly, I want to bring up last year's Shadow Generations, which had brought a fresh air into the character of Shadow, allowing him to feel like the character from Adventure 2 once again. It gives him this complex sense of morality and returns that emotional edge the character had on like Sonic. Shadow was returned to his former glory, replacing the Dark Edgelord from the 2010s. It returned that progression from both Shadow and 06, which was just natural character progression of Shadow's arc, something that is rare for Sonic characters to have. Shadow refusing to betray humanity and keeping his promise to Maria, while Mephiles claimed humanity would betray him, was Shadow at his peak.
If the world chooses to become my enemy, I will fight like I always have.
And I think he's finally returned to that, and I pray that it's just even more expanded on in the next game. I think that games like Sonic Adventure 2, Unleashed, 06, and Frontiers sums up my feelings on why these characters and stories are so good, because it just embodies why I love these characters, and shows that even though these games are made for children, they can have heart. After all, kids aren't stupid. They understand more things than you realize, and they can notice, as I did, that Sonic gives this light to others, and allows them to want to be better for the greater good. It is just amazing how he can inspire these characters like Shadow and Jet and show them what it means to restore hope in yourself. He can be the inciting incident for these stories to happen when he lands on Eggman's ship, or to fly out the fucking sky to make these ventures and allow these people to be better. He doesn't stop and he never gives up, no matter what it means, and I think he and others put it best himself mostly.
It's Sonic who named me Eggman. Except the joke's on him. I embrace the name.
When I first met him, I wanted to catch up to him more than anything else in the world.
I'll admit, I do envy your lifestyle. Freedom to go where you want, when you want.
Sonic is strong. He's thoughtful, intelligent, and always puts the people closest to him first.
Sonic, I think I've discovered what the ultimate life form is. It might be you.
I want some coffee.
You must be that blue rat.
You shall be Knight of the Wind.
You're supposed to be the fastest thing alive?
You're too strong to lose yourself.
He never stops. He never gives up.
It was never about chivalry for me. I just gotta do what I've gotta do.
What you see is what you get. Just a guy that loves adventure. I'm Sonic the Hedgehog.
As this video wrapped up, I wanted to ask you, what does this character and this world mean to you guys? And what is so special about him that makes you be able to connect to him? So please, like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below answering just that. I want to thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all next time.